Billboard praises Jungkook's 1.3B Spotify streams, a record that redefined Asian pop. How does one song become more than just a melody? How does it transform into a cultural marker, a statistic that forces the industry to pause and rethink its boundaries? That is the question hovering over Jungkook's Standing Next to You, as Billboard itself now acknowledges the track's historic journey. Over 1.3 billion streams on Spotify. In the age of fleeting hits and disposable playlists, this number is not just impressive, it is revolutionary. And perhaps more importantly, it is a record that redefines what Asian pop can be on the world stage. When the song was first released in 2023 as part of Jungkook's solo album Golden, few outside ARMY could have predicted the trajectory it would take. Western critics initially viewed it as yet another attempt by a K-pop star to cross into global pop, a space notoriously guarded and selective. Yet months turned into years, and Standing Next to You refused to fade. Its sleek production, soulful vocals, and Jungkook's innate ability to command attention ensured it wasn't just a BTS-associated curiosity, it was a standalone force. By late 2025, the song had shattered ceilings that many said were unbreakable. Billboard's recognition of this achievement feels like more than an article. It feels like a turning point. For decades, Asian artists have fought against the notion that they could be global without losing their cultural identity. Success in the US market often meant assimilation, compromise, or being confined to niche categories. But Jungkook, with this single track, has carved a different narrative. He did not dilute his artistry to fit Western molds. Instead, he expanded the mold itself, forcing critics and executives to see that Asian pop can be pop. Without the qualifier, the timing could not be more symbolic. With BTS's full reunion on the horizon in early 2026, this milestone places Jungkook not only as the group's golden magne, but as the trailblazer who proved that their music could thrive even in the most competitive solo landscape. His achievement also sharpens the spotlight on the Recording Academy, which notoriously snubbed the song in its 2024 Grammy nominations despite its numbers. Now, with Billboard publicly praising this historic feat, can the Grammys afford to ignore him again? Or will this recognition finally tip the scales in favor of a win that fans argue is long overdue? For ARMY, the 1.3 billion streams are more than just a statistic. They are proof of resilience, loyalty, and the unrelenting global hunger for Jungkook's voice. Every replay, every share, every fan-made edit that kept Standing Next to You alive has culminated in this moment. And for Korea, it represents a shift. An idol who began as the youngest member of a boy band now stands as a record-breaking soloist shaping the global definition of pop. The story isn't finished. With Golden still climbing charts, BTS preparing to reunite, and media outlets worldwide now using terms like redefined, historic, and unprecedented to describe his work, Jungkook's legacy is being written in real time. The only question left is, how much further can he go, and how many more records will he break before the industry has no choice but to place him where he belongs, at the very top of global pop? If Billboard's acknowledgement of Jungkook's 1.3 billion Spotify streams cemented his place in history, then the next chapter could determine whether the world finally treats him not as an outlier, but as a central figure in global music. The conversation is no longer about whether Jungkook belongs on the same stage as Western giants. It's about whether those giants can keep up with him. And the next stage where this question will be tested is the 2026 Grammy Awards. For years, ARMY has carried the emotional weight of BTS's Grammy snubs. In 2021, when Dynamite lost despite its record-breaking dominance, fans filled timelines with outrage and heartbreak. In 2022, Jungkook himself caught COVID-19 just before BTS's Grammy performance, turning what could have been a triumphant night into a bittersweet one. In 2024, when Standing Next to You was left out of nominations entirely despite its undeniable numbers, many wondered if the Recording Academy was simply refusing to accept that an Asian artist could lead in the mainstream, but 2025 feels different. Billboard's praise for Jungkook's record isn't just a nice headline, it's a signal to the industry. When one of the most influential music outlets in the US calls attention to the power of a Korean idol, It forces Grammy voters to look again. It reframes Jungkook not as a foreign guest, but as a core part of the conversation about the future of pop. Could the Academy risk looking irrelevant if they overlook him again? Or will they, at last, recognize his impact not only as a member of BTS, but as a solo force who has already bent global streaming culture to his will? And here's where the emotional tension deepens. Jungkook's possible Grammy breakthrough could happen just months before BTS's full reunion in 2026. Imagine the symbolism. The youngest member, once dubbed the Golden Magne, stands on the Grammy stage holding the trophy that eluded the group for nearly a decade. The cameras cut to his hyungs Jin, RM, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, watching from the audience, their expressions a mix of pride, relief, and vindication. It wouldn't just be Jungkook's victory, it would be BTS's redemption story, written through him. But the opposite scenario is equally haunting. What if Jungkook is once again overlooked? What if even with 1.3 billion streams, global dominance, and US media acclaim, he is denied recognition? Would it prove that the industry is still unwilling to accept Asian artists as equals? Would it leave ARMY replaying old wounds, more determined than ever to prove that Western awards cannot define their idol's worth? This tension between triumph and heartbreak, between recognition and erasure, is exactly what makes Jungkook's journey so captivating to both fans and critics. He is not simply climbing charts, he is carrying the weight of representation, of proving that Asian artists can not only participate in but lead the global music conversation. His streams are not just streams, they are arguments. Each play a vote of confidence from millions worldwide that say, "This is what pop sounds like now," and perhaps that is why Billboard's acknowledgement matters so deeply. Because it isn't just about celebrating a milestone. It's about forcing the question, if 1.3 billion streams don't earn Jungkook the respect he deserves, what will? And when the world tunes into the Grammys in 2026, will the industry finally answer that question, or leave it hanging, daring fans to ask it louder than ever before? If Jungkook's 1.3 billion Spotify streams forced Billboard to acknowledge him as a force reshaping global pop, then the next natural question is, how will this achievement ripple into BTS's long-awaited 2026 reunion? Because make no mistake, what Jungkook does as a soloist will not stay confined to him alone. Every record he breaks, every barrier he smashes, becomes ammunition for the group that raised him, the group he still calls family. The 2026 Grammys hover like a storm cloud, or perhaps a beacon, over this moment. Speculation is already running wild. Could BTS's reunion coincide with Jungkook's potential Grammy breakthrough? Industry insiders whisper about the possibility of Jungkook taking the Grammy stage not just as a nominee, but as a performer, possibly even with a surprise BTS reunion set. Picture the scene: the global pop industry, long dominated by Western names, suddenly confronted with the living proof that music's future is no longer bound by geography. Jungkook holds the trophy, BTS walk onto the stage together, and ARMY, watching from every corner of the globe, finally sees their decade-long fight for recognition come full circle.